And we're back. The reset button.
Woo! Happy Thanksgiving,
Happy
everyone.
Thanksgiving.
Hopefully you are stuffed with turkey or vegan turkey or,
Tofurkey, turkey jerky.
Hopefully you got in your football that you wanted to watch. Anything else that are holiday traditions for you on this Thanksgiving Day. From our home to yours, we do want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving.
And by the way, this other female voice that's accompanying me today, because Travis is still on his hiatus, the lovely Karen Dine, my partner in life, the love of my life, the thing that I'm most thankful for, now actually co-hosting with me tonight. I am TANNEN Smith, and we are the Reset Button. Karen, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was fabulous. It was wonderful. My mother cooked the turkey to perfection. It was tender. It was juicy. It just, it was a magnificent moment.
I do want to interject. I am not a big fan of turkey. And I eat both the white meat, the dark meat, and regretted having to leave to go to another Thanksgiving dinner at my grandparents'.
6 hours in the oven, 240. Was perfect, turned out perfect. Now she might have her other little nuances she does, but that was an amazing turkey. So also got a 2-hour nap in here on my part. I had the living room floor after Thanksgiving turkey nap.
That I did not get to do that, but I got to see a lot of my family members, a lot of cousins, some of them actually returning from out of the country. It was the biggest Thanksgiving table that I've been to in years, even since I was a kid. And it was pretty great. So, all in all, I think, cheers to this.
Cheers to
a
Thanksgiving.
Great Thanksgiving dinner. Yes. To that was Thanksgiving dinner that could not be beat. And, if you're Arlo Guthrie.
Right. Just get yourselves down to an Alice's restaurant and, have another mascot.
And that's about that. Well, let's go ahead and we're just going to jump into this. Like normally, what I would start out with is a Memorial Day thing, but I'm going to go ahead and just give really quick. I've been playing some new games, LA people, and actually just renting them to strictly play their campaigns and say, it's worth a rental. The first one that I'm going to go ahead and mention off is World War II, Call of Duty. The campaign was great, and I ended it with feeling a little bit more like there was so much more they could have done with it. A lot of people like to jump into Call of Duties here of late where it's, I'm all about it for the multiplayer. This was a little bit something to be had. We actually have a setup right now. Karen got for her birthday Need for Speed Payback. All of our former listeners are aware that is her favorite franchise ever made. So I went ahead and detached the Xbox One that we own, and I have a smaller TV that was donated to me through a friend. And we can still sit on the couch, play together, but I wear headphones, and she gets.
And then I look at the larger TV up on the wall, and
she gets
we get to sit next to each other. We get to spend quality time when he is in, loading time or cutscene that he can look up at what I'm doing.
And the way I see it, in all fairness,
what's going on with his game.
She gave me a good 3 months for Breath of the Wild, and I absolutely hogged the big living room TV
every day
for hours. So it was a great thing to experience it with headphones on. There were times that sitting beside her, I would jump.
Because I'd be like, "Oh, son of a bitch!"
And I would still get really involved in the storyline. World War II campaign. It is worth a rental for it. The multiplayer. If you're a Call of Duty fan, yeah, sure, go ahead, get your stuff, get your drop boxes. Let EA kind of fuck you over. But at the same time, I will say...
How'd you feel about the campaign, though?
The campaign overall, I just wished it was longer.
Yeah.
I grew up playing Medal of Honor. I grew up with Medal of Honor and then Medal of Honor Underground. Both of those were very full storied. It definitely took you more than 2 days to get through it. Whereas this campaign, it's very shortened, but a very good storyline. There is a part in it where you actually play as a French Underground member. And I was just like, oh my God, they actually they're giving you this Medal of Honor experience, but in full HD, washing intestines, saving people getting raped from Nazis, like all this shit, like all this really emotionally driven shit. And then it really did cut short at the end, I felt like.
It was really cool though, even though that was the first or second night that I actually had Need for Speed. As I was playing, I looked over to the screen that he was playing on, saw just there's this scene where they're on the boat towards D-Day and the ship is just moving along the ocean and the guys are there and they're talking with each other, and just the realisticness of that scene is incredible. There's a moment where a guy takes out his Zippo. He goes to light it for the other soldier. And then all hell breaks loose. All sorts of other shit goes down that I'm not going to go into. But in that
his
moment,
head blows up right in front of you.
it was all right. Spoiler alert. But I actually, when I looked back up to the Need for Speed screen, my car was just up against a guardrail as if it was just like continually trying to go, because I was just so taken by just like the background, the movement of the game, as well as just how detailed oriented they really were with all of it. The soldiers' outfits, all of those dynamics, they really
right
did a
down
good
to
job.
the fabric, they did it. And I've been playing it with headphones. The bullet whizzing and everything, like I for one have had bullets whiz past my head. It was kind of a funny joke that a friend was playing on me. He fired his Ruger and fired. Bullet whizzing is a real thing, and also like I'm saying this friend is a complete asshole. Probably almost shot me, but have had a bullet whiz right past my head, and it does actually sound like that. It sounds like when somebody opens up a tent, but really fast and going right past you. That is what a bullet sounds like, going right past your head. I've never been in combat, but that is one experience. And then also, like, with my friend, I was like, dude, what the fuck? Are you trying to kill me? Oh, no, I'm just trying to fuck with you. Like, yeah, real nice. Thanks for almost killing me.
These are the moments that you read about in the newspaper.
Yeah, and I'm glad to survive it. But all in all, though, like the sound effects, everything was done really well. And it really the campaign made it. Now, as far as multiplayer goes, I have no review for it. I sort of started to play it, but folks, my bill was $25 with Redbox already when I went back to get it between work and everything. So, sorry, no multiplayer review. But hey, that campaign, if you have 24 hours to sit down and play a campaign, it's a good campaign. Play it on hard, because normal is just way too easy. Make sure that you like get it in risky business, and you are afraid of getting shot.
Now, the other cool thing about that, though, was you could choose what kind of soldier you were in multiplayer. Just kind of like any other multiplayer game.
Well, that was any other. I ended up joining the Canadian Mountain Snipers for multiplayer. Really enjoyed it. However, though, that was my last night of having it. So I had about only like 3 hours of gameplay on that. I can't really give multiplayer a big review.
Oh, I'm just saying that, there was
only criticism was I couldn't instantly jump into tank wars or dogfights. And one of the things that I loved about the campaign was the flying. They really pulled it off very well. And I really felt empty whenever I had it, and I was like, I can't just do aerial battles. I like flying in a game. I love flying in a game. I'll talk about that later, and how Battlefront 2 really perfected their flying game. But being a flyboy in the campaign for World War II, I really enjoyed it. And to have that just instantly taken away when I went into multiplayer really did upset me. Because I should be able to just have strictly dog fights.
Yeah.
And, or protecting, like, bombers to get to their target while you have, like, the Nazis.
Well, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Hopefully they take some feedback that the players have and they actually go forward.
And hopefully, I might end up corrected in the chat or the comments.
Fingers crossed there won't be a World War III.
And there was a way to get it, but, like, I had such limited time then with the multiplayer after completing the campaign. that like I really didn't dip into it too much, but it wasn't instantly there for my grasp. So that was a criticism that I have. But still, World War II, really good. Like I loved Battlefield One, and they have a whole new campaign that I haven't even struck in or anything. I haven't touched it. If anybody has played any of the Russian Front or anything like that, please comment on it. Give your own little review. I will definitely read into it to see if it's something that I want. But as far as what World War II initially has pulled off, it's a World War II game. You have the advanced weapons of World War II. You have that advanced combat. I'm all about it.
Yeah, detail oriented. I mean, your girlfriends will enjoy sitting next to you just to watch the game, because it is like watching a movie. In essence. So let's go ahead and you want to move on to.
I want to go ahead. Recently was Karen's birthday. Happy birthday! And for her birthday, I got you. What did I get you?
He got me Need for Speed Payback. The newest Need for Speed game in the alliance of Need for Speed Mania, that franchise, which I am very thankful for. It has allowed me to spend a lot of time reflectively playing and driving. I love to drive anyway, but to be able to drive that fast and drive those kinds of cars
As far as before this came along,
thankful thing for me.
This is your favorite franchise. What was your favorite game before that in the Need for Speed franchise?
In the Need for Speed franchise,
I really want to
like closest to.
I really want to say it was Underground 2, but I don't think.
I mean that is no Underground 2, a favorite. The Run, if the loading times weren't so shitty, which I've brought up a million times before, a favorite.
The Run lacked customization too. You had your cars that you just won,
and that
was like an arcade.
That was that, but it was awesome. It was fun to be able. The Run is so fun because you could play against other people in all parts of the world in a split screen manner that is unlike any other kind of racing game that you can actually handle.
Yeah. It was like a racing game that you fed quarters into. And then boom, you're playing with somebody that I'll never forget you getting yelled at, and I want to say it was Russian. It could have not been, but
Yugoslavian,
there was
Turkish,
a dude that was pissed off at you for beating him. That was a one-on-one race. It was really wow, and he continued to berate her for a while.
Well, because you could go through 3 races at a time to get 2 out of 3, and so there was a lot of berating within that game. But anyway, loved that game. I really didn't mind the newest Need for Speed. That really pretty much followed the movie, which I did love the movie as well.
Well, what you didn't like about it, from what I remember, was
I didn't like to be online all the time. I did not like to be online all the time, first off. Secondly, I'd beaten the campaign. I was just driving around trying to pick up races, do all those little other tasks, and your points got shut off, your level got shut off. And then
you had to wait for every update every couple of months. Then, even though you had put so much time into it, that they just they put a limit on what you
couldn't actually measure how much you were playing the game and how much you were actually leveling up or defeating challengers, because no matter how well you did in one race or doing a speed run or something, no matter what the outcome of that was, you were still at that same exact basic fucking amount of, reputation and money. So it did come kind of down to the point of what is the point? But they actually, in this new one, they went above and beyond what that is. So they gave you more point value for what each level up is. And, they also, something that was provided is every time you do a race, you're not just doing the same race to kind of compete with yourself on what kind of race time you can get. It actually allows you to race an upper level car. So every time you race, you actually have to beat someone or a car or the car's values. You got to beat a car that is better than what your car is, or is really essentially better than the car that you raced the first time on the same track was. So instead of it being the exact same race, you're actually racing a different racer, even though you already beat that race. So it is kind of like among the racing community, that's how it works. You don't just like race one person and continually race them and their car is continually the same and you're just trying to get a better time or, you know, get around them faster or do more drifts because your car is a better drifter. You are actually have to be a better racer, or you have to get a better car. You have to upgrade your speed cars, which is a cool thing that they actually added in this game as well. But you have to gain all those things to win the race instead of it just being, oh, I remember this turn's here, I remember that turn's there. In some races, or you know, you got your your race, your off-road, your runner races, but you actually have to make your car better in order to perform correctly in the race. But then you get these speed cars in which allow you to upgrade a car. And the upgrades can either have certain perks or it can be a certain kind of model of upgrade. And if you have 3 or 6 models of an upgrade, it can make your upgrade quote unquote better than what it would be if you had 5 different brands actually setting up your car. So it's kind of like real life. Like, yeah, if you're using Chidori parts on your car, if you have 3 out of 6 parts on your car that are that brand, it's probably going to run better than if you had 6 different brands of parts to run your car, because obviously the parts are made to work together.
In comparison to another major franchise that you did kind of dip in, you had never dipped into Forza before until Forza Horizon 3 was brought into this house. I just got an Xbox One, not too long ago. A friend gave it to me, and I got Forza Horizon 3. It looked really good. Karen played it, absolutely loved it. You loved your experience with it. Soundtrack aside, by the way.
Oh, geez. There's a few things on the game that I will bring up are not cool.
Both of them have shitty soundtracks, and we don't even need to attack that as part of the game. No. Somehow...
You just turn down the music and turn up your Spotify or Amazon Music or your playlist on
somehow
your
they both have really shitty soundtracks. But driving physics and everything aside from what you haven't played Forza 4 yet. I've been wanting to get it, but every time I go to rent it,
7.
They're 7
Forza 7.
Yeah. Excuse me, sorry for burping, but as far as Forza Horizon 3 goes, compared with this, because this was your bridge between the last Need for Speed. Forza Horizon 3 did
Forza, I was blown away from after the last Need for Speed with all of the online stuff that you had to be a part of and just people roaming around and kind of trolling you on a video game. This was... And Forza being amazing. It was amazing. The technologies that they had with visuals as well as the way that the car dynamics worked were amazing, and the amount of cars that they had to choose from. However, this game, it not only makes you work for a car, you have to decide which car you want to buy. There are hundreds of cars available. So every time you get money, you can either choose to spend that money on upgrading one car, which you are going to max out at some point. And you have to take a chance on which speed cards or which things at the tune-up shop, which upgrades at the tune-up shop are going to be available to you in order to upgrade a car. Or you really have to think, oh man, is this car that's $115,000 in the game worth one that's $70,000? Because it makes you actually have to think and look at it, because you could get a car for much less than, an expensive Ferrari. You could get an Audi and it'd be half the price, but have a better upgrading
one major thing that I noticed with Payback is you have these derelicts, is what they call them. And it's kind of like a treasure hunting RPG kind of element that you have while driving a car. And you go to these middle of nowhere spots, hit these really weird fucking jumps. Sometimes you got to bounce off a wall to actually get these packages. And you're actually getting parts to build these very rare cars within the game. It kind of reminds me of a Zelda feel where, like, you are out in the world and you are like literally digging into which is the real meat of the game, the atmosphere of the game, to get these like lost parts to build these cars that no longer exist, and you could suddenly like upgrade them and modify them to the point where it's just like the Millennium Falcon, like, and you could do the Kessel Run in under 5 seconds.
The awesome thing about the derelict parts, or the derelict car parts of Need for Speed Payback is you have to beat certain races in order for someone to even give you a tip on where a quote unquote plan to put a derelict part together is. So you have to go and find the chassis first. So you'll win a race, they'll be like, oh, I think I know where a derelict car might be. And so you get that area. It doesn't tell you where the place is. It takes a place on this huge open map design, and it puts this huge red circle around probably what would be like 1,200 acres worth of room and riding room. And you kind of have to pick, okay, where would the center of that red dot be, or what could be within that, not dot, but circle. And then you got to try and figure out where within the map it's matching up with. It doesn't just have like the exact roads there. It might just have like 3 of the roads around it. And you, even though there's 30 roads around it, you just have to pick out within the map that shape design that actually is where you could find that derelict chassis. And then from there, it opens up 4 parts cards that you have to actually, well, not cards, but parts pictures in which it will show you 4 more red circles where you can find the other parts to find the derelicts. From there, you're given a rusty derelict. You're given a rusty Chevy Bel Air. That is what you are given. Then you have to make enough money that you can actually upgrade what the engine is, upgrade what all of those modifications would be to make the car actually run the way you want it to. But first, when you get the derelict together, the first decision you actually have to make is what kind of car you have to run. And you cannot change that decision after you make that. So one of my biggest mistakes in the beginning is I got the Chevy pickup, the Sportback pickup. So I got the Chevy C10 step side pickup. And I was like, oh, you know what? Like, you know, it's a pretty heavy car. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to put this as a drift car. Or am I a fucking idiot? Yes. Okay. I just kind of thought it was going to be like you could weight the back, weight the front the way that you can in Need for Speed games. But no, that car's set up for drift then. And if you obviously can't weight it the way that you want to, so you better hope that you can get enough horsepower and enough 0 to 60 speed type cards to make it a drift car. But nonetheless, you actually have to choose what kind of car you will upgrade a drift or a derelict car into.
So in the end, your derelicts, what you pick is what you're stuck with when you get your derelicts. It's really good, so that way that future players actually understand that. We didn't understand that as we were collecting derelict parts.
Karen, you have drag, drift, race, off-road, and runner races.
And drag, which never happened. And also, you have police chases, which haven't happened since Rivals, and even then it was lame because you still played as a cop.
Everywhere you went was a cop
and everywhere
looking for you. Everywhere you went.
You
could be in the middle of a race and a fucking cop would start chasing after you. And
Karen,
anyway.
in the long run, scale of 1 to 10, what do you rate this game?
I would say this is a very strong 8. It's a very strong 8 with Need for Speed. Some great qualities. I am only.
I'd say minus would be soundtrack. They really fucked up on that one. Trust me, folks. I've listened to this soundtrack a lot.
But way back in the day, you couldn't even take the music down. So now being able, the
Run had the best soundtrack I've heard in a while.
Yeah.
But this soundtrack sucks. It sucks balls.
The soundtrack doesn't suck. It's just, 22 songs doesn't go very far. However many songs there are. You're going to create
the biggest landscape that you ever have. It should be Grand Theft Auto-esque soundtrack.
There is a radio broadcaster that comes in and kind of talks about, because you get to play as 3 different characters.
Let's face it. I didn't get sick of Grand Theft Auto soundtrack until 48 hours gameplay. So that was when I got sick of it. If you're going to make that massive of a thing, you need to work on your soundtrack. And yeah, what you think it's got about 8 hours of soundtrack on it, if that.
Yeah, if that.
Probably 5. They really half-assed it on this one, folks. That's my main criticism with the game.
They did throw back and forth on having Spotify actually meet up and partner with them to actually do you could do your Spotify playlist over into it. But
exclusive game,
now,
and wisely enough, though, because it's not going to sell enough if you don't do multi-platform. Right. But though it's still like the programming for a certain console should be allowed, the licensing should be allowed for you to have your Spotify. But whatever, we have an external mic. We got
it's
exactly
awesome.
What you said.
Just turn on speaker with my music.
I personally, when she played, made a really great. I feel like I made a really good soundtrack for you.
Well, and it's really cool too. You can have it where the cops actually talk through the remote to you, the remote controller. So it really sounds like there's been a couple of times where the cops are tailing me, and all of a sudden I'll jump because I didn't realize it, like that was coming, and they'll just start talking to you from the remote controller, and it's an awesome moment because it really makes it feel like real, like as if you were in a car listening to like a CB radio or a radio that would be picking up police signals. So that is a cool part of it too.
Gonna go ahead and jump in. I know this game.
I love Need for Speed, bitches.
That's why you're on the show.
We'll keep you updated with what else is going on in the game though.
I just wanted to just go ahead and throw out. Played Fractured but Whole a little bit. Rented it. Fucking love the game. Really
you made that sound like so elegant. Fractured but Whole.
Fractured but Whole. It's full flavored. But no, all seriousness, Fractured Butthole. South Park's next episode with outside of an episode, everything that you would want. If you're a South Park fan, you need to play it. Of course, Stick of Truth was good. A lot of people argue that Stick of Truth was better. I felt the same way initially, but then as I got to my afterthoughts, my private thoughts about it, it's another game. It's just still another a time-based game. I really like the combat on it, and I love the humor. Give me my fucking keys. Like, just everything about it really kind of went on. And, like, you wonder, like, with everything that they did with Stick of Truth, what was left? And it's just like, no, the show has existed for 20 years. It's still a hilarious game. It's still everything South Park that I wanted. It's still that interactive episode that I wanted. And the way that characters interact and shitty pata and just all this shit. If you haven't played it without revealing everything, just fucking play Fractured But Whole. I really want to get on a more serious note here, though, on a game that I rented just for the campaign. Again, and that would be Battlefront 2, ladies and gentlemen. Battlefront 2. I rented it wanting to be the bad guy. I wanted this. That's what they showed us in the E3 preview. It's what they showed us. Like, you were the bad guy. You were a member of Inferno Squad. I wanted to be the opposite of what Jane Erso was in Rogue One. I wanted to be a young woman pissed off at the fact that the rebels blew up the second Death Star. And I got that for the first 30 minutes of the game. I'm going to yell spoiler alert right now, but within 30 minutes of the game, all of a sudden you're shooting stormtroopers. You're no longer killing rebels. And I'm not saying I feel great about killing rebels. I'm not saying that it's a good thing to kill rebels. What I'm saying is I just wanted to be the bad guy for once. I wanted an experience that I got since I played TIE Fighter on PC off of a 3.5 floppy disk set since I was a kid. I wanted to see the other side of the situation.
How'd that go for you?
Not very well, because within 30 minutes, I'm fucking making friends with, like, Luke Skywalker and Han Solo. How the fuck is this happening? I will say a big point that I like about it. Lando Calrissian shows up for this one, and it is actually
they make him look like Lando Calrissian.
No, it's not only look like it; it's actually voiced by Mr. Billy D. Williams. Lando is one of my favorite Star Wars characters, And we get that. Other than that...
Oh, but the detail of the actual... the artistry in it is...
The graphics are fucking amazing. But the storyline, like, I just didn't get... I didn't feel like... When I was going through and stealthily killing stormtroopers, within 30 minutes of being part of the Empire, I didn't feel there was any transition. There was no transition, like no remorse, no nothing. Like I'm obviously killing my enemy because I'm playing the game, but like my character should be like actually like remorsefully, like, you know, breaking a stormtrooper's arm and then twisting his head around. What the fuck?
Real American hero.
No, instead, no, I'm a real intergalactic hero. And it's just like, what the hell's going on here? The interstellar, not interstellar, whatever, solar systems. Bullshit, whatever.
Intergalactic was right.
I just, intersolar system, I think, because it's all
intersolistic.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to look for. I don't want to argue about the right. I don't want to argue about the right definition of this. All I'm saying is like I started out the game so passionate about the fact that the rebels blew up the goddamn Death Star, flew through the destruction of it, saw bodies floating around, and I'm like, fuck me, man. Yeah, fuck the rebels. Fine, I'm going to get in this character act, and then within 30 minutes, I'm like, I'm going to kill the fucking Empire. That's bullshit. That is bullshit. That is bullshit. I should be feeling passionate about killing rebels up until, I don't know, if it was a movie-based thing, an hour. Give me an hour to, like, get to the halfway point and be like, I feel remorseful. I could have
talked about Need for Speed for an hour, but I had to cut it off. So, how do you really feel about the game, though?
It's a good game. It's a good campaign. And it also reveals a lot of... do you want some spoiler alerts?
No.
I'm not actually going to do that to y'all, listeners. But play through the campaign. It's good, but really lackluster in character development.
Now, you multi-played this, too.
Really lackluster in character development. Multiplayer is great, but at the same time, microtransactions are bullshit. Again, it's a good rental. It's not good to buy. And that's the way I feel about it. I'm glad that Norway made it illegal. Like, oh yeah, did you guys hear about that? Norway, gambling is illegal. There's microtransactions where you pour all your money in and then pick a card. That's gambling. It's illegal. Can't wait to see what that results in. Just read about that. Whatever.
That's pretty interesting, actually. So, are they going to make that for any game that you actually pay into and gamble to have a certain attribute in the game? Are they going to make that illegal?
I guess if there's like some kind of understanding about it, I don't know. But hey, what is your favorite Thanksgiving gaming memory?
Why don't you go first?
Okay, my favorite one. Listeners, just listen. And it's funny, it was 20 years ago, and I had just gotten my PS1. My grandfather came over to my house, and I was playing Final Fantasy VII in front of him. And he was not impressed with it at all. He actually hated it. So I switched games. And I also got Resident Evil Director's Cut. My grandfather, watching me play this game, actually got really into it. And he helped me solve the puzzle, you know, with Jill Valentine playing the piano. Mm-hmm. Jill.
Oh, Jill, yeah.
He helped me solve that puzzle. He watched me play Resident Evil so hardcore that he got me to the next part of it, but wanted nothing to do with Final Fantasy VII. I noticed that he was bored as I was showing off the new system that I got right before my birthday. I had an N64. I got a PlayStation the following year. That he just wanted nothing, though, to do with Final Fantasy VII. So I switched it to Resident Evil. And for the first time with somebody else, we watched the intro movie together, that cheesy-ass intro movie. I had never popped the game in. I actually experienced that with my mom's father. And he was all about that game. He really actually enjoyed it, despite the shitty voice acting.
Now, he used to be a cop, though. He used to be a sheriff.
No, that was my dad's dad.
Oh.
My mom's dad was in the Air Force as an aircraft mechanic, and then went on to be a butcher. And he liked zombie movies, though. Like, he liked Night of the Living Dead and shit. So that...
I didn't realize that's who you were talking about.
I was talking about Tuck.
Ah, Tuck. What a wonderful man.
So anyway, that's my favorite Thanksgiving memory that I have gaming-wise, is my grandfather actually getting into it and telling me what direction to go in. And telling me to put your gun up. What are you doing? Like, shoot that zombie. And, like, I couldn't explain to him that I couldn't move while I shot. So why aren't you backing up while you're shooting? That was another thing that he yelled at me. It was just really funny. Yeah, because unfortunately it's 1997 and zombies still approach me and I'm frozen in fear, I guess, when I point my gun out. What's your favorite gaming memory related to Thanksgiving? You had to have played Saturn or something. Karen Dunn had a Sega Saturn before any of us did. It was really great. I really want to point out this girl had she showed up at my house years ago with 2 PS3s. And I'm not talking about like the shitty like 80 gig ones. I'm talking about the 120 gig ones or whatever, the higher gig ones that still played the PS2
80
games.
gig was the highest gig for that.
And she just randomly shows up at my house. She's like, I got 2 like 80 gig PS3s in the back of my car. And I'm like, holy fuck, how the fuck did you do that?
They were the reversible ones. We actually still have one of them. And actually we also have a Japanese version of the reversible one.
And we have another reversible one that we bought separately.
Yes. But anyway, yes. Thanksgiving to me every year is a new experience. I mean, last year was awesome. The year before was awesome. This year, I will say, one of the most awesome things is laying on the floor. My niece is there laying too, like, oh, let me show you these things on the tablet. And then all of a sudden, my other brother's dog, comes up. He like puts her ass right on my niece's face, puts her arms over me and just starts licking me. And we're both like, oh, my niece is going, oh, your butt. And I'm like, her Hershey stick's on you. Get her Hershey-ness off. And I'm yelling because they're licking up on me. What
game was Sloan playing? This is gaming related, though.
Oh, shit. Fucking gaming related. Oh, she was playing the Ballerina ice skating app for the Samsung tablet.
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
You press these buttons and it makes them do these things like different moves that ice skaters would do. And then after that, like, if you get so many combinations together, then you get like a medal. But then it'll also show you whoever you're up against in competition against other players on the internet. And the one that we watched, she was like, see, that wasn't very good, was it? You really, mine was good. And I was like, Sloan, everything that everyone does is good, but yes, yours was very good. I like the costume you picked out. It matched the outside of the ice skating rink. But anyway, yes, gaming. You know, I mean, yeah, going back, we had talked about it earlier. You know, brothers playing Madden on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You know, like yes, the football playing gets done, and then what happens? Oh yeah, we're hooking in the PS2 because we're playing fucking Madden.
Well, you know, when it comes down to Thanksgiving, 2 brothers need to fight themselves on them when it comes to a good game of football. Oh, he's got those big balls on him. Here's what I love about the Madden games. Like when it finally came to generating Madden's voice, like, and he had to go into the recording studio, him repeating himself so much. Oh, point of a good defense is to keep them back to getting into your end of the field, so that way they don't get a touchdown. And everything that's obvious about football was like, a great quarterback actually does to his receiver. or he goes ahead and gives it off to a runner who gives you some yards.
So, when you have man coverage, it can a lot of times provide you some better coverage than when you got that zone coverage, because then the guy, he can get away because you're only zoning the coverage. Well, no shit, fucking Sherlock. Fucking
I tell you,
football
when you're going ahead and in the end zone, you might as well go ahead and get a touchdown. But if you're on the 4th line, go ahead and get a field goal, because that's just going to get you more points. But if you go for it, you could also get more points. That's just how football works.
It's a gambling game. Shit, man. Where did you say he's charging you for gambling now? I guess all football players will have to pay a gambling fee.
That fantasy shit is bullshit, and they're trying to actually unlock that because I think certain players
do it on purpose.
Yeah,
it's a 60-1 chance. It's a 5-1 chance. Yeah, I think they need to take the gambling out of football.
It's like before they
outside of whatever, but
outside of gaming. Remember when they accused boxing of it, American boxing, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, we were fixing fights."
Yeah, well, boxing and wrestling used to be the #1 sports ever. So what's happening to football?
Well, you know what happens in a good game of football?
Right.
Sometimes this player gets a lot more points on his fantasy team, so we're going to go ahead and just cut him off from getting them receiving. Like Gronkowski's not going to receive, and we're going to make him injured just to piss people off. Football.
Nonetheless, yeah, fucking Justin Tucker missed a field goal a couple weeks ago. That is not a real thing. Nonetheless, back to the reset button. It has been great hanging out.
It's actually been really great. It's actually been really great.
And Need for Speed. That was wonderful.
I'm actually I'm thankful for our listeners. I'm thankful for everything. I'm thankful for you guys supporting Travis and I throughout all this. I'm really sorry about the fact that we've been off air for a minute, but it has been a good breather. It's been really good, Karen. Actually, I'm thankful so much for this lady sitting next to me. I really wish that you guys enjoyed this edition where it was me and Karen. Obviously she can hold her shit. When it comes to as a burp, but when it comes to being on air and trying to entertain you guys, with everything with Hibiki and everything that we do with the channel, I really hope that you guys all had a good Thanksgiving.
Absolutely,
meals galore, and
for those of you who haven't, dude, reach out to a friend, go and have dinner at their house, have them cook a turkey for you, because you're definitely worth it.
Well, that would have been worth announcing yesterday. But still, yeah, you're definitely worth it. Eat their leftovers. There's plenty of leftovers. All chugging in. And again, though, I just really appreciate anybody that tuned in today for this Karen and Tannen Thanksgiving. Oh, look.
Oh,
there's a balloon.
Oh my goodness!
I'm Al Roker, and I'm just talking about how it's coming in here, and this
welcome
is
to the Tannen and Karen Thanksgiving Day
Extravaganza.
Woo!
But in all honesty, though, everybody keep playing, keep enjoying your games, be thankful for what you got, be thankful for who you are, and
be thankful for the things that you are working towards,
and be thankful for being you. You're a living creature. Fucking shit.
Love that. I love the shit out of that of you. It's awesome. Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you so much for tuning in.